Hey gang, Roden here. Welcome on back to the Cade in another episode of WTF Wednesday. And for this one, well, the title speaks for itself. We're going to go back to 1987 and play a game that is, on many levels, should be a lot better than it is. But because of the source material it's based off of, and it's not based off of the original 1975 blockbuster, it's based off of the final film in the series, Jaws: The Revenge from 1987. We're going to play LJN's Jaws. And what we're going to do over the course of the next half an hour or so is we're going to figure out why it is that this game is so terrible. Now, if you've never seen any Jaws film, the original one is one of the truly great films ever made. It was the film that 50 years ago almost, next year, defined the summer blockbuster. I'm going to pause here just to get the music from being too annoying. But they made 3 sequels after the initial success of Jaws. They made Jaws 2 in 1978. They made Jaws 3 in 3D, no less, in 1983. And then the final film, Jaws: The Revenge, was made in July of 1987, of which this game is predominantly based off of. And that film is considered easily one of the worst films ever made. It's truly awful. And it has, even though there are characters from the original Jaws in it, it has such a preposterous storyline to it that it truly defies belief. It defies any measure of logic at all. Which begs the question, okay, well, if they were so smart, why would they make a game based on such a rightfully maligned sequel and not the original game? Well, as far as I could tell, the rights to the original game or the original film were never made available to be converted into a video game format. They did do a computer adaptation of the original Jaws called Jaws: The Computer Game. It was released in 1989 for the Amiga and the Commodore 64, but there was never a console version. This version of Jaws came out only on the NES, thank God, and it was created primarily by LJN. Now, what you have to do in this game is you are out on the sea trying to find the means by which that you can take out Jaws. And now we get these times where we will run into things that we hit. And when it says we hit something, what it means is we've run into an animal or something that we have to take out before we can go back onto the ship. Now, if we take jellyfish out, that's helpful. But mainly what we're looking for is we're looking for conch shells. Because getting conch shells is going to help us. That's basically the currency in this game. That's one right there. And we've got to really keep an eye out for sharks. Now, there are 2 types of sharks in this game. There are smaller sharks that will show up. And then, of course, there is Jaws, who, in the original movie, Steven Spielberg named the artificial shark that he created after his lawyer. His name was Bruce. So I've always taken to calling the shark, for lack of a better term, Bruce. Which is why, also, if you've ever seen the movie Finding Nemo, when Marlin and Dory, in their quest to find Nemo, come across the sharks, that's why the great white is named Bruce. Now, whenever we run into stuff, it's not always a guarantee we're going to have a shark show up. And what we're really wanting to be able to do, there we go, get a crab, some conch shells. Now that's a little shark. And we get a bonus seed. So now what we've got to do with this plane is pick up as many jellyfish as we can by dropping cannonballs in the sea. Which is as far away from shark hunting as you could possibly think of. But if we can get to 30,000 points, we'll get an extra life. Now you see that graph down below that says Jaws power on. That is his lifespan, obviously. And what we have to be careful of, so as a result of the bonus seed, we got 14 hits. Bonus shells collected 4. So what we can do is we can go back to port. Ooh, but we hit Jaws. So here's Brucey. And what we've got to do is we got to stay out of his way. And we got to fight him off. If he touches us even once, we're dead. Except we hit the stingray and we died there. So now we have 2 lives left. Now eventually he will drop down and go away. Or is he just going to camp out here in this cove? He is going to camp out in the cove. Now, Jaws in this game is very unpredictable. You never really know where Bruce is going to be. But that he's going to sit right here does not help things. Now, we were able to drop cannonballs on him. But we got tagged by the jellyfish. And now we're down to 1 more life here. So we got out of the bay. And now we can go to this port. You need more conch shells, okay? And we hit Jaws. And pretty much if you take a high-low strategy with him, except we got hit by yet another stingray and we died. But as I was saying, if you take a high-low strategy with him, that is the best way to avoid him for the most part, because he's not very maneuverable. He's just big, because he's a massive great white shark. But this is the crux of the game. You go around this area in the Caribbean, and you take stingrays and jellyfish out. You do the bonus games, and then eventually you will get to a point where if you can whittle Jaws' lifespan down, if you can Bruce down, I think it's half life, by dropping the depth charges and the cannonballs off the side of your ship, then you have a chance to finally kill him once and for all. But then there comes a really big problem with that in that the final showdown with Bruce is so freaking badly constructed. Like, in all the years I've played this game, I've gotten it once. And I've never been able to kill Bruce. Because what you gotta do is you've gotta get him to come up out of the water, and then you've gotta skew him with the bow of your ship. You've basically gotta run him through with the front of your ship. And you need a special device to help you do it. Now we have the bonus scene. Again, we're dropping cannonballs into the drink to pick off jellyfish. Missed him there. Now we gotta come around this way. Now I have to admit, when this game was first announced in '87, I was about 10 years old at the time. And part of me was looking forward to it because, again, I grew up watching the original movie. And there we go. You can now track Jaws with the receiver. There he is. And we hit something because we hit something. And he's close by. We have to be especially careful because he may just show up out of nowhere. Especially when we're in this deep of water. Now, among the other things we can find in this game is you can find a submarine and you can find there was stuff you're able to locate that can help you be better equipped to deal with Bruce when he comes around. But ultimately, it is, you just gotta have the capacity to whittle his life down. And once you do that, then you get to the end of it. There's no real timer for how long the game can go. So, in some ways, this could qualify even as a one-day playthrough, because you can beat it in, I mean, you can realistically beat it in an hour or two, depending on how your luck goes. I do like that you can never run out of spears for your spear gun. Ooh. Do not want to get picked off by a stingray right there. Now, the other thing is that when we go into port, if we have enough shells that we can trade in, we can also boost our attack power, which means we do more damage to Jaws and everything else we come into contact with. There we go. So we come into port. Power level raised. Now we're power level 2. And we hit something. It looks like we just hit a whole heap and heck of a lot of jellyfish. Oop, get that conch shell. No sign of Bruce yet. Whoa, that was close. Whew. And we got the bonus scene again. So we've been playing this for about 15 minutes. And you can see it's fairly redundant. But there's so much more they could have done with this game, because the original story, if you're not familiar with the original story of Jaws, it's based off of the Peter Benchley best-selling novel of the same name, where a great white shark wreaks havoc on a small island community off the coast of New England. So growing up in New England, this was a movie that naturally scared the ever-loving bejesus out of me. And one of the most effective pieces of media that I still have ever seen to this day is the original poster for Jaws. Which is a swimmer at sea level, and you look up, or you look down, and all you see is Bruce coming at her at a rate of 9. So now we've got 20 conch shells. Maybe 23. But we gotta be careful of these jellyfish, because these jellyfish are coming in at different angles. Again, if any beastie in the drink touches us, we're immediately dead, as you saw in the first go through. But we're actually doing pretty well here. So now we got to get over to port again. Let's see what we can get. Power level is up to 3 now. We hit something. We know the meter was going off, so Bruce is out here somewhere. Now, in doing my research, if we hit 30,000 points, which we just did, I believe that gives us an extra life. I didn't hear or see anything to convey that. And we hit something else. But as you see, it's not that difficult to be able to build up conch shells and get a good enough collection together that you can start trading it in and building up your attack power. Ooh, we almost got picked off right there. We haven't run into Bruce yet. We've heard him around, obviously, but we have not seen him. We've got a baby Bruce here. Took him out. And we have the bonus scene again. So if we can get back to port, we might be in a good position to actually get something bigger. Or something better. But what we need at this point is we pretty much need to run into Bruce. So we picked up 4 more shells, so we're 31. Sail back into port, and we're up to power level 4. It's something. Cool. Now, pretty much in the shallows here, if you stay kind of in the middle, and you don't have to move very far, that helps you avoid most trouble. If I can get these raised, though. Oh boy. Was not expecting the little shark to show up. And I have to be sure I say it as a little shark and not baby shark, because then I'm just opening myself up to a world of hurt. I'm never going to hear the end of it. There he is. Whew. But he still hasn't shown up down here yet. Oh! Was not looking for that. So when we die, I think we dropped down 1 power ranking. So we went from 5 to 4, and we lost the transmitter. Alright, get that shark. Oh! Not good. So we've quickly gone down 2 lives. We've got 1 more to go. We've got 6 shells. Ah, we died. Well, that is game over. We never even really got a chance to take on Jaws. But, I mean, we're 25 minutes thereabouts. And, I mean, there's no point really going further. But that, everybody, is the game in a nutshell. And there's a reason why in the history of NES games especially, if you saw something with an LJN badge on it, you knew you were not going to be in for a good time. LJN was a company that was created in 1970, and it lasted until 1994. It got into making video games in 1985 as part of the boom of the NES. But on the whole, if you look up a lot of the titles, like we did for a previous WTF Wednesday, we did Friday the 13th. That's an LJN title. The thing about these games is that they were in such a hurry to put them out that LJN never really QC'd any of them. And as a result, a lot of them are really broken and they're really terrible. So, you know, in the reviews of this game, I only found 2 of them, and I don't know what the actual date for either one is. But Computer Gaming World praised it, saying that the graphics, the animation, and gameplay in Jaws are all first rate. Maybe for the time on a really good day, but I can't say it was overly staggering in its mechanics, its presentation, or anything else. But then Allgame gave it a rating of 1.5 stars out of a possible 5, and the review commented that the game its visuals were a dull overhead view of you sailing your boat, a repetitive side view sequence, and the review concluded that by the time you reach the final anticlimactic scene, you'll be so tired that you won't care if you killed Jaws or not. You'll just be glad the game's almost over. And that's really it. And there's so much more that they could have done with this game if they'd had the ability to go and get the original story and put it together. Because all the elements were there for a great survival, like a survival horror type game, which would have been one of the first of its type that I would have ever considered finding in any video game medium, and it would have been probably, 15 years ahead of a lot of what we saw. I'd say actually 10 years, because we got Resident Evil and Silent Hill and all that stuff in the mid to late 90s. So I'd say 10 years, recalibrate that a little bit. But as a result, this is what we ended up with. Is it a good game? No, it's not. It's really repetitive. It's really, yes, you can beat it in an hour, but you've got to have everything line up for you to do it. And then the question is once you get to the final showdown with Jaws, will the game let you actually beat it? Because again, you've got to skew it with the front of your ship, and you've got to do it in a very special way. And the game just won't let you, the mechanics built into the game won't let you do it. Like, you will literally spend an hour just trying to get rid of him at the very, very end of it, and the game will come up with every reason in the world not to let you do it. And it's not talking in an AI sense. I'm just talking that the mechanics are so bad, and the game physics are so bad, it is as close to impossible that you may find in a game. Is it a game they could make today? Absolutely, they could make a game like this. I mean, what was it they did? Was it, I think it's Maneater was the game that they came out with a couple years ago, where you play the shark and you're going around and you're chasing after people in the water. I mean, could you do it that way? Sure you could. But I think if what made Jaws great was the story elements to it. And cheap free plug here, if you are a fan of the YouTube channel Cinefix, they're doing a series where they're counting down their list of the 100 best movies ever made. And they just did their analysis of Jaws like 2 weeks ago. It's not hard to find. If you just type in Cinefix, Cinefix Jaws, you should be able to pull it up. And it's a really good conversation about the movie and why it is still one of the great unimpeachable films of the 20th century, if not in all of film history. If they have the ability to take that story now and adapt it into a modern game engine with physics and atmosphere and all the elements that you need, I don't know a whole lot of people that would not be interested in playing it. The trick would be is that how would you make it replayable? I think that would be the issue. Because ultimately, if you're following that idea, you have to kill the shark. And once you kill the shark, that kind of ends the story. So how are you going to get people to go back and play it? But that's why I'm not a game designer. That's why I'm a game player. I come up with these crazy ideas. I don't have the means by which to actually execute them. But that is WTF Wednesday for this week. Is it a game that I could recommend you try out? Only if you have a particular masochistic streak in you and you really want to spend time you don't need to pulling your hair out over a game, that time would be better served playing something more ultimately enjoyable. Because there's not even a whole lot of nostalgia attached to this game. So, but if you want to give it a go, I mean, I'm playing it on the Mescen emulator, MESCN. It's a free emulator. It's not hard to find as far as getting a ROM of it. And if you have an NES and you manage to find a copy of it, I'd be actually fairly impressed, because I don't think they made very many of them. It was not an in-demand title. So if you've been enjoying the content, as always, best way to show it, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, ring the bell to be notified of new episodes. We post content every week. Although, one side note, we are doing Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday this week, and then I am taking next week off, including Saturday and Sunday, because I get the week off for, it's my birthday. And I'm going to be out of town. So there will be no content after we do Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday this weekend, but The trade-off to that is when I get back, we are going to start recording our next playthrough. So, and those will start airing in place of our one-day playthroughs and WTF Wednesday for the time being. We figured it's better off to put it in, slot it in during the week because we'll have time to do it. It shouldn't take a lot of episodes to record. We finally did come to a conclusion on which game we are going to play. I'm not going to give it away here. Other than it will not be a fantasy role-playing game. Considering what we did with Dark Souls 1, or playing Dark Souls Remastered, which was a great experience, don't get me wrong, but that was a bit of a slog as far as recording goes. So we're going to go in a bit different direction and have a bit more fun with something else. And again, we're looking to get those put together and up on the channel by the middle of May at the very, very latest. So tune in for those as they start to show up. We will obviously let you know. And the best way we can let you know, and the best way you can find out new information about the channel, is to follow us on social media through Instagram and Threads, both at Ronan's Retrocade. You help spread the word about us to build this channel subscription base and make it bigger and better. And if there's a game you'd like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, SNK Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line on social media. It can be any game from those consoles that you want, guys. My name is Ronan. It has been great to spend this WTF Wednesday with you. Be safe, be well, don't go into the water. We'll talk to you again Saturday for Sports Saturday. Bye.